Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, bringing you some of the best college football news, predictions, and analysis. This Saturday, 4 of the best players in all of college football will gather in New York for the 2019 Heisman Trophy Ceremony. And those same 4 players will endure a very long Heisman Trophy ceremony only to hear Joe Burrow's name called as the 2019 Heisman Trophy winner. It is going to be no surprise and no shock that the phenom out of LSU is going to win the Heisman Trophy on Saturday. It may even be one of the biggest landslides in Heisman Trophy history. That's how big of a deal Joe Burrow is. That's how well he has played compared to the other 3 guys we have up here on the board. But even though we all expect Joe Burrow to win on Saturday, we have to pay attention and give respect and credit to Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, and Chase Young on a phenomenal season for these guys. Players that have shaped the landscape of the 2019 college football season. And that is the purpose of this video. We're going to talk about Joe Burrow and his fantastic stats. But we're also going to talk about these 3 other guys, the numbers they have put up, and the reason that their teams are playing in the college football playoff. We have them ranked 1 through 4 the way we would rank them if we were voting on the Heisman Trophy committee. And of course, we'll start with number 1 right now with Joe Burrow coming out of LSU. Guys, he's just been unstoppable all year long. It doesn't matter what you throw at him. Doesn't matter what defense you have. He has been unstoppable. And I think that performance in the SEC title game just proved that point even more. Going up against Georgia, one of the best defenses in the entire country, Burrow threw for 349 yards and 4 touchdowns. He was making plays in the pocket that made him look like Johnny Manziel. He caught a pass that was batted back to himself, ended up taking that for nearly 20 yards. He was escaping the pocket, running left and right, juking Georgia's defenders out, and then chunking it down the field for 50 yards. They could do nothing to stop Joe Burrow. He's thrown for over 4,700 yards this season, nearly 5,000 yards this year, 48 touchdowns, just 6 interceptions. It has a 93.7 QBR, good for 2nd in the entire country. Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the entire nation. He has proved it since day 1 of this 2019 season and has continued to get better and better every single week. And has a huge day against Jalen Hurts in Oklahoma in the college football playoffs. So right there, if you love offensive fireworks, then the Peach Bowl is going to be the game for you in the college football playoff semifinals as number 1 LSU takes on number 4 Oklahoma. The crazy thing about Jalen Hurts here, guys, is that his numbers this season in 2019 are better, way better statistically than Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield's stats, both of which were the 2 previous Heisman Trophy winners, both coming out of Oklahoma. Think about that. His stats are better than the previous 2 Heisman Trophy winners, both coming from the same school. But Jalen Hurts is not going to win the Heisman on Saturday because of this guy, Joe Burrow. Jalen Hurts, thrown for over 3,600 yards, has 50 total touchdowns, 32 passing, 18 rushing, and over 1,200 rushing yards. You can't ask for anything better from your quarterback. Jalen Hurts is the reason that Oklahoma is once again back in the college football playoff. A reason that Oklahoma could hang with LSU in that Peach Bowl and give them a fight. Expect a big shootout down in Atlanta between 2 of the best quarterbacks in the entire country. Hurts would win it if it weren't for Burrow, but I expect Burrow to take it by a large margin on Saturday night. Right below Jalen Hurts, we have Justin Fields coming in at number 3. That's how we would rank them, at least. Justin Fields, another transfer quarterback like Jalen Hurts, going from Alabama to Oklahoma. Justin Fields going from Georgia to Ohio State, and a main reason, once again, why Ohio State is in the college football playoff this season. Of course, you can credit that to their defense as well, and we'll address Chase Young and that defense here in a little bit. But Fields, the stat that has stood out the most to me is not his 40 touchdowns. It's not his 10 rushing touchdowns, so 50 total touchdowns combined like Jalen Hurts. It's the fact that he only has 1 interception on the year. 40 touchdowns, 1 interception. So Justin Fields doing a phenomenal job of taking care of the football, something that will be crucial in their Fiesta Bowl matchup against Clemson, also in the college football playoff. He's thrown for over 2,900 yards, nearly 3,000, 40 passing touchdowns, 471 rushing yards, 10 rushing touchdowns, and 92.4 QBR, good for third in the nation, just right behind Joe Burrow, who's number 2. Unbelievable stats from Justin Fields. He fits into Ryan Day's system, is a main reason why Ohio State once again is a college football playoff contender, a national title contender, the number 2 team in the country going into the playoff. But another major reason they are doing so well is because of this guy right here, Chase Young, arguably the best defensive player in all of college football. And when you look at Ohio State's defense, the first guy you do think about is Chase Young. It's not the 10.5 points per game allowed, one of the best scoring margins in all of college football, not the amount of yards allowed, one of the best marks in all of college football. It's Chase Young, who ranks first in the nation with sacks, 16.5 sacks in a single season. 16.5 sacks in 2019. That's 6 more than he had last year in 2018. He has 6 forced fumbles and 31 solo tackles, 44 total tackles in all. That means he has 10 more tackles than he did in 2018 and 6 more sacks, as we mentioned, from 2018. So he has taken a major step forward. His game has improved drastically in a span of 1 year. He certainly deserves to be invited to the Heisman Trophy Ceremony on Saturday, but as we all know, it is very, very difficult and very, very rare for a defensive player to win the Heisman Trophy. It's only been done 1 time. So you look at Chase Young, how well he has played, an incredible honor just to get invited to New York for the ceremony, but he will not be winning the Heisman Trophy on Saturday night. But congratulations to him, and congratulations to Ohio State getting 2 of their players from separate sides of the ball getting invited to the Heisman Trophy ceremony. That shows something about what they are building in Columbus, what Ryan Day is continuing to build upon in Columbus, of course, carrying over after Urban Meyer. So there are your top 4 Heisman contenders, guys. It's the 4 players that were invited for the ceremony on Saturday, but we cannot kind of disregard some of the honorable mentions and some of the players that will not be there in New York, guys that I think did deserve to be there. And we'll start with Jonathan Taylor, arguably one of the better running backs in the entire country. As you can see, we've got 3 quarterbacks and a defensive player up here on the board. We don't have a running back. Jonathan Taylor finished the year with 1,900 yards, 1,909 rushing yards, good for second in the entire country. 6.4 yards per carry and 21 touchdowns, also tied for second in the entire country. He's just a junior. I don't know how Jonathan Taylor did not get invited to New York. Quite frankly, I do not. Playing in the Big Ten, putting up those big-time numbers, the performance that he had in the Big Ten title game loss to Ohio State, do not know how he was left out of being invited. Even though he would not have won, it's just an honor to get to go. But he is just a junior. There's a good chance he could come back for his senior year. If he does, he has a very good chance of breaking the all-time rushing record in NCAA history. And if he puts up numbers like he did this year and his senior year, you can bet your money he will be in New York in 2020. But he was not invited this year. Honorable mention to Jonathan Taylor and the phenomenal season he has had once again. But we mentioned that he was second in a couple categories, and many of you may be thinking, well, who is number 1? This guy named Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard over at Oklahoma State, finishing the year with 1,936 rushing yards, first in the nation. Averages 6.3 yards per carry, and like Jonathan Taylor, has 21 rushing touchdowns. And of course, both these guys have more in the passing game. We're just talking about their rushing stats. Chuba is just a sophomore. So if he chooses to remain at Oklahoma State, coming back for his junior season, you could have Jonathan Taylor and Chuba Hubbard both in the Heisman Trophy race, both being in New York in 2020. They're not there this year, but I can guarantee you if they come back for their junior and senior years respectively, that they're going to have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder and they're going to want to get to this ceremony. I think they got gypped this year and they want to prove some doubters wrong next year. So guys, there you have it. We know what's going to happen on Saturday night. We know Joe Burrow is taking home the Heisman Trophy. Credit to him and credit to LSU for a phenomenal season. We've got huge games coming up featuring all 4 of these Heisman Trophy contenders. And even though we know what's going to happen, we cannot disrespect them. And we have to admire what they have done giving us some amazing football and some amazing moments over the course of this great 2019 season. We were 150th season of college football. So guys, thank you so much for watching us here on YouTube. Make sure to like this video and check out everything we have for you in the description below for some exclusive college football content and offers. And once again, thank you for watching. Please continue to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time on the Gridiron Expert.